and Zoe overthink. Ask you questions, leave you on the brink. What's the point of existence? Welcome back to Brains Unpicked.
Hello and welcome back to Brains Unpicked. I'm Rose.
I'm Zoe.
And it's episode 19 now.
It is.
You're somehow still coming back for more.
We've nearly finished our teens.
I know. Oh my god, we're going to be in our 20s as 20s.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, imagine staying this long, guys. What are you doing? No, actually, thank you, though.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so we'll just get right down to it. We are two 20-something-year-olds who chronically overthink, spiral about the whole entire universe, and you, for some reason, choose to come along with us. So, let's just go ahead.
On.
Yeah,
how you been, Rose?
I've been not too bad. Busy, but all good. What about you?
I'm plodding along.
Yeah, you're surviving.
Yeah, I'm
Excellent.
here.
Yeah, you've
Things
just
are
been
going.
away for
I
a
did.
weekend.
I just went away for a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful. We got a wee fire. We went a walk. So my dad has a caravan and we just go to his caravan and
Nice.
we just got to, it was real chill. We just done some arts and crafts, chilled out, watched a fire, had some s'mores, watched some crap telly, watching things on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like TV shows on YouTube, because there's not a lot over there, so we watched YouTube because we couldn't go on Netflix, and we just watched like full episodes of The Simpsons on Netflix on YouTube. But like for copyright reasons and stuff, everything's all over the place, so we would just be sat there and we'd be like, what's going on? And then we'd be like, I don't remember this, and it was just so that for a lot of things.
Nice. That sounds cool.
It was good. Anything for a fire and a little bit of sun, do you know what I mean?
So fair. I got to chill with Astrid while you were...
You
oh my god,
did?
my stomach just rumbled. Yeah. She was proper, like, two of the days I was there, she was, like, proper cuddly as well. It was like...
She was sick.
Yeah. It was cute.
I think she's cold. So I've turned the heating off, so I don't know if she just thinks it's cold in the flat now.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe. But let's get on to our minor inconveniences, shall we?
Okay.
Would you like to tell us yours?
I would love to after you tell yours.
Okay. So, my minor inconvenience, and I respect the need for these, and I think the outcome of them is very cute, right? But my minor inconvenience is, see, whenever we film this podcast, we then have to make thumbnails. Yeah. And I don't know why, when we're filming this bit, totally fine. The minute it's just me in front of the camera having to make like a cute pose or do something to create a thumbnail, I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it so much.
It's so funny.
I don't know why. And I feel like, see, if you go and look at any of the thumbnails, like you can see them on like our socials or just go on YouTube and look at the thumbnails. I feel like every time you can see it in my eyes as well that I'm just dying on the
Yeah, you hate it. It's so funny.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Even when I go back to like take them, you'll have done like twice as much poses as me.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, I don't know if I can use that one. I'm like, she might kill me if I use that one.
Yeah. It makes me cringe so much. And like you turn them into a really, like, I love what you make with them.
I try my best. I do need to improve in the thumbnail situation.
No, they're cute. But yeah, every time I'm like, like there's just, I just know that there's a part of me that dies
every time they do them. Yeah.
I don't know if it, I suppose, I don't know if it's gotten worse with the hair as well.
Fair.
Like, you probably can't see it from here, guys, but we're in the awkward growing out phase at the moment, and I have a really weird kuzelik.
You do.
Yeah.
I've never noticed it, but it is there.
It's happening, and it's at its prime at the moment, and yeah, I feel like it's not helping when you stare yourself in the face for too long.
Fair.
Maybe it's just like, when you look in the mirror for too long, you start noticing things that you never noticed before. Yeah.
I don't know, they're just silly goofy, aren't they?
They are silly goofy, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I can get that. I can get... You are inconvened every time I start to bring that camera closer to you, to be fair.
Yeah, it's like, leave it there at this distance and I will be fine. Yeah. The minute I have to see my actual face in it, I'm like...
Fair.
Yeah. Okay, so that was mine.
I get that. I don't really, because I love it.
You do, and then that's the thing. I think as well, because I normally have seen how well you've done it, and then I'm like, oh no, I can't. I can't follow that, or I can't.
My minor inconvenience is cutlery. I just feel like there's not enough good cutlery out there. You need to try really hard to get good cutlery. I wish I could just make my own cutlery, because then I would make it perfect to how I want it. But that involves quite a lot of skill that I don't have. Yeah, I'm just inconvenienced by cutlery all the time. I just think that, it's too hard work to find. Like, in my work, there's only one spoon that I like. And, like, I just have to go every day using a spoon that I don't like.
Yeah.
Just spoons are my real issue. I can handle a bad knife and I can handle a bad fork, but a bad spoon really does sit and shiver up my spine. And I'm just really sad about it, to be honest. I'm just sad about the state of the cutlery situation in the world.
I don't blame you. It is really hard to, and I feel like everyone has their own opinion on what a good piece of cutlery is.
I just wish, how you go to shops and you can, it says, try me. I wish I could do that with cutlery.
Yeah.
Because I'd really want to invest in, a nice set of cutlery that I like, but I can't do that without testing the cutlery.
Yeah. Do you know what else? So, I'm fully with you on this one. And I don't think I have a spoon at work that I like. There's certain teaspoons that I like. There's particular forks and knives at work that I like. But recently, some diabolical person who you remember as Laura, who was a guest on our podcast ages ago.
Yeah, Christmas time.
Brought in heinous cutlery. Wooden. Metal, but the handles have a plasticky wooden...
Yeah, a wood texture made of plastic.
Yeah. And I remember the very first time I opened the drawer, and it appeared out of nowhere. I don't know the reason for her bringing it in, but I opened the drawer, and this is how awful this cutlery is. This is how big my reaction was. I opened the drawer, went to reach to get a piece of cutlery, and went, "Ugh!" It's frightening. It's actually disgusting.
The big spoons look like a villager in Minecraft.
Also, yeah. So the spoons and the teaspoons are square. They have square edges. They're not rounded. They're like shovels.
Yeah.
But there's somebody before that brought in teaspoons that were supposed to be like shovels, so looked like shovels, but these are spoons that are not supposed to be shovels that take on shovel form.
What I'm saying is, everyone submit their cutlery to the judging panel. Yeah. And I will rate your spoons immediately, with immediate effect.
Yeah.
It's hard in a picture. I feel like I really need to get the weight of a spoon.
You do. You need the weight distribution.
The weight distribution of a piece of cutlery is actually so unbelievably vital to... Oh my God. I just kept trying. I kept trying, and I was like, no, it's not working. Unbelievably vital to the eating experience.
One thing that bothers me about cutlery, and I know it doesn't bother you, but what order in the drawer do you people put your cutlery? Because in my mind, it goes fork, knife, spoon, and then teaspoon at the bottom, right? But other people do spoon, knife, fork, or fork, knife, spoon. But to me, it should be fork and knife, so that you can go in and you immediately have them in the hands that they're needed for.
But isn't the fork meant to be in the left?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Pretty sure proper eating etiquette is the other way.
My fork is in my hand, in my left. Sorry.
Oh, I take it back.
Yeah. Sorry.
I have
fork.
I have my fork in my right. Because I did wrong.
I hold my fork in my right hand if I don't need a knife.
Yeah, but I just always hold it in my right hand.
Even if you have a knife?
I think so.
Oh, because that's interesting. Because my dad is left-handed, but he eats with the cutlery in the same hands as I do.
You're supposed to eat it with your left. The fork's supposed to be in your left hand, I'm sure. Either way, I'm inconvenienced at the state of cutlery in this world, and I'm on a mission to improve it. So I don't know how I'm doing that, but I'm improving it.
You could write to Parliament.
Oh my God, could you imagine? Can everyone sign my petition that we need better? There's real things going on in the world, but could everyone sign my petition that we need better cutlery? Thanks. Thanks.
It would be pretty cool to make your own cutlery, though.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Oh my god, I keep hitting this microphone. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I feel like if you're gonna be able to like be a blacksmith, is it blacksmiths that make cutlery? I don't know. I feel like if you would make a knife, I'd make a sword as well.
Oh, Forged in the Fire. What a program. You ever watched that?
No.
Fucking unreal.
Do you know what somebody told me to watch? You know how we were talking about, sorry, this is way off topic, but we were talking about in the last episode, how do they know what a skull, like how can they... So one of the girls that I go to the gym with was like, have you ever watched Bones? And I was like,
the TV program?
Yeah. And she was like, watch Bones. I know everything about that now.
Right, I have seen episodes of Bones.
Yeah, well,
or am I thinking of something else?
Apparently that would help us
Am I
understand.
thinking of Grimm? I might be thinking of
Grimm's
Grimm.
about fairy tales, isn't it?
I might be thinking about Grimm.
So Bones is about actually like science and human bones, I think.
Right.
Or bones in
I
general.
might be thinking of Grimm. And I've mistaken it for Bones.
Way off.
Okay.
Yeah, but apparently that would help us understand how they do that. So maybe we'll need to just watch an episode of Bones. Yeah.
Okay. I have a scenario-based Brains Unpicked for you.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Do you want me to go first?
Go on.
So, have you ever heard... It's a bit of a, like, moral dilemma.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of the hot air balloon dilemma? I don't know what its official name is. So, we done this thing in school, and I've been thinking about it a lot recently, and I don't really know why. So, it was, you know those things where the people come in for the day and they do weird things with your year, and you're just like, why? I think this was called the Tree of Life or something, I'm not quite sure.
Sounds familiar.
And we had to do all these workshops and stuff. Anyway, I think it was part of that, it might be part of something else. Basically, all these people of varying different types get in a hot air balloon, and they're up, and something goes wrong, and you realise that one person needs to be kicked out. And only one of those people can be kicked out, okay?
Yeah.
But you need to make the decision based on the explanations of these people who you're going to kick out. Now, I don't know if this is the same type of, like, I don't know if this was the same people, but I just had a quick Google of it, so people might have heard different variations of this scenario. I am just reading one that I've learnt online because I couldn't remember the one from when I was a kid. Okay, so there's 7 people on the hot air balloon. The first person is the driver of the hot air balloon, who is 45 years old and suffering from depression. Secondly, there is a 30-year-old woman who is 7 months pregnant with her first child. Thirdly, a 70-year-old retired man whose wife died 2 years ago. Fourthly, a 26-year-old trainee doctor who committed a terrible crime that he's never admitted to. 5, a 15-year-old girl who's paralysed and will live the rest of her life in a wheelchair. 6, an unemployed 52-year-old man with no family. And 7, a 55-year-old scientist who may have found a cure to cancer or could have created an illness which is much worse but nobody knows yet. The trials for the treatment start next week.
Right.
So these are your 7 people. These are their archetypes, or however you want to explain it. I don't know if that's what archetypes mean. Who are you chucking out this balloon?
So if this doctor has committed a crime but never admitted to it, he's not admitted to it on the hot air balloon, has he?
That's true, you don't know. You don't know that he's done this.
So I feel like I hate these things because there is no, like, you can't. It's like the train tracks one. No, actually, the train.
It's
track
a very
one,
trolley problem type situation.
But like, you know for a fact in the moment people will be like, right, old bugger's got to go.
Yep.
But but you can't choose. You just, I would throw myself out.
You're not one of the scenarios.
Well,
right. So the thing is, I'm not chucking out the woman who's 7 months pregnant.
No.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing out... Would I throw out the driver? I feel like it can't really throw out the driver because he's the most experienced person to be there.
Yeah. So he needs to land the hot air balloon.
Right. But however, do I think that you could combine the knowledge of a doctor and a scientist and maybe get down safely? Yeah. But depression isn't enough reason for me to choose to kill you. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm going to kill the 70-year-old man. His wife's dead. He's got nothing to lose. He's going to die soon anyway. I don't really care.
Yeah, but what if he's like... What if his death has a knock-on impact that it destroys the life of, like, one of his grandkids?
Yeah, but he's going to die soon anyway.
How do you know that? How old is he?
70.
My granddad's in his 90s.
Right. However, does he still have a shorter life expectancy at 70 years old than every other character in this? I'm either chucking out the 70-year-old retired man, or I'm chucking out the 52-year-old unemployed man without a family, because quite frankly he needs a bit of excitement. What's he got going? What are you doing if you're like...
But like his whole life could have changed the next day.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Someone's dying, so it's either one of them, to be honest with you. I think the trials could go without... I think the trials for the treatment could still go without the scientist.
That's true.
I could also...
But then what else could he
him.
cure?
My question is the paralysed girl who's going to spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair... not that I'm like chuck her out, because I don't want to, but is she happy? Because if she's not happy, whoop.
But it's also it's like, you know, the
see, in any scenario
of like,
scenario, chuck me off.
Who? Yeah, exactly. That's why I chucked myself off. Like how it's like the big question of who are we to decide whose life.
How can you quantify one person's life over another?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true, but I'm asking the question of who you chucking out. I'm chucking out the 70-year-old man. He's gone. Rip.
Well, you would have to.
But
I don't think it's right.
You could choose someone else.
No, he is the most logical option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I'm curious to what terrible crime that the 26-year-old committed. Because is it related to him being a doctor?
Because he could go on to keep...
I really like moral dilemmas. I really like questioning the ethics of something and seeing what other people's thoughts on it are. Yeah. Because I just think it's funny. I'm not... When am I ever going to be in an air balloon with these people?
Hey, you never know.
And if it is, and there's a scenario where we need to jump out, get rid of me anyway, because I'm not that bothered. Like, I'm not like fighting for my life.
Yeah, so this is part of this. Like, why are we chucking someone out if we're not an option in the hot air balloon?
Because we are ground patrol making the decision.
So are we going to snipe someone from the ground?
Yeah. Specifically snipe them. Yeah.
Let's just snipe the hot air balloon and take them all out.
Yeah, do you know what? Let's just kill them all. That sounds like a better idea.
Yeah, and then get rid of the evidence so they'll never know who we chose,
But the person I am least likely to kill, everyone else is an option apart from the woman who's pregnant.
But
I just don't think she's
however, the world is overpopulated and she's contributing to that, so really, is she a good person? If we got rid of her, then we get rid of her and an extra one.
That's true. Yeah. True. When you put it like that, I'm still going to save her. She's going through enough.
Well, yeah.
I'm not gonna make her do 7 months of carrying a child just to send her off. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least wait until she's given birth, so she gets the full experience. Just don't feel like it's right to take her out halfway, like just towards the end of that experience. Different for a 7-year-old man who's already like
a 7-year-old man.
70. He's retired. Do you know what I mean?
Worked his whole life, got to retirement, and somebody's killed him.
And I'm happy to kill him off, to be honest. At that point,
I've seen enough.
I've seen enough. He might be a bit of a burden in his family, do you know what I mean? So,
poor guy.
Goodbye, Mr. Retired Man.
Poor man.
So, I've just been thinking about moral dilemmas recently, and just trolley problem kind of scenarios in the hot air balloon.
Yeah, on the trolley problem, I'm definitely just sacrificing the one person.
Yeah, but it is interesting, like what you would do in this, and I think the second you start to give character to them,
yeah,
people then start to apply more to it, and that's exactly what you did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Basically, you better just count on me never being in a situation like this, because I'm not making the decision.
No, you're not. Right, what's your brains unpicked?
So my brains unpicked is, if you could have, I can't remember if I've spoken about this before, if you could have any superpower, what would it be, and what would you do with it? Did we?
I think so. I'm sure we've done something on superpowers. I would shapeshift if I had a superpower.
I would also shapeshift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd probably use it for evil.
I was thinking, I think I would use it for just really silly stuff.
Right.
Like, I think I would just shapeshift into a celebrity and then do, like, really small cancelable things. Wait, what did you say?
Ruin their whole career.
Well, yeah, but like to like quite cancelable, ridiculous things. Like, you know, when Ariana Grande licked a donut.
Yeah.
I'd do shit like that.
I reckon I'd be a villain.
Okay.
I'd be a shapeshifter, or I'd be invisible. However, I think we have spoke about this, because I then spoke about the program Extraordinary.
Oh.
Or Extraordinary. I don't really know how you say that word. I think it's Extraordinary.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, and they all have superpowers apart from one girl, but some of them superpowers are really weird. Like, someone can just turn into a cat, and he doesn't know how long he turns into a cat for, and he forgets being a human, and then turns back into a human, and is like, well, I've just been a cat for 15 years. Like, doesn't have much control over it, the power. And they've all just got, like, different powers. I think... Yeah, I still think I'd choose something quite mundane, like shapeshifting.
What evil would you commit, though?
I just mess things up, man. Probably pretend to be really important people and just watch the world burn.
Like the president or something.
Yeah, I'd turn into Trump.
Yeah,
and just
hit that big red button.
Yeah. I would just, cause I think I'd just want to see the world burn.
I think I would just use it. I think I would also just like to just cause chaos, like a little bit of chaos, like not even big serious chaos. Like I would just start.
Think no one's going to know it's me.
Yeah.
And I just think that given the opportunity to do something with absolutely no repercussions or consequences, I'd probably just mess things up for fun.
Yeah.
I'm secretly could be quite an evil individual. I just don't do anything about it because I know that there's risk and consequence.
But like that's the best. I feel like that's the best way. Like what's the point in having a power if you're not going to use it?
Like I'd just make someone really random into a serial killer.
You'd make them? Like how would you?
Because I'd shapeshift into them and kill a bunch of people
I get that.
and get them caught.
Yeah. But then how you just have to get them caught, but like get them arrested. Not
I would
you.
do the only murders in the building style podcast, where this podcast starts like going into murders and things like that, and they're like, so he's really good at this, and it turns out that I'm doing all the murders as these people, but no one knows that I can shapeshift, and then I've built a whole platform on my own lies.
I like it. Would you tell me?
No.
Oh, that's sad.
And everyone would be really surprised because I'm scared of blood.
That is true. Yeah. Would you manage though?
No, because I'd probably do something simpler.
Well, you'd have to like just poison or something.
Yeah, and
or suffocate.
Yeah, and then I just blindfold while slashed up and walk away. Bang,
bang.
Yeah. That got a bit dark. Apologies.
So good we've seen into the soul of Zoe today.
Doing good.
Yeah, I hate I would rather do that or be able to teleport or something. I don't want to fly. I'm not really arsed about flying.
Teleportation would be quite cool.
Yeah, I would like teleportation, but I don't want rules about the teleportation where you can only see where you're going. Do you know what I mean? You have to have seen it.
If I want teleportation, I want it Doctor Strange style. That's why I did that.
Fair enough. Okay. There you go.
Great.
Okay, so welcome back to the Little Book of Something. We are heading back to my side of things this week. I'm going to talk a bit more about mythology. I thought I'd just carry on with the Greek mythology theme at the moment since we went over it last time. So last time I covered the end of the Titans' reign and spoke a bit about the beginning of the Olympian gods. So I thought I would tell you a bit more about like the fates of the other Titans, because some of them, alongside Kronos, were punished and trapped in Tartarus after the war.
After the war, we go back to New York. After the war, we go back to New York.
What's that from?
Hamilton.
Of course, yes. Do you know what's been all over my timeline at the moment? My For You page. It's just Hunger Games edits to Hamilton songs. For some reason, I can't scroll past them. I sit and watch them every time, and they're so good. Like, some people who make edits make genuine works of art.
Yeah.
Can't comprehend it.
Got to love the clip editors of TikTok.
Yeah. But it's all like, Hercules Mulligan! And it's just Plutarch, whatever his name is. Pretty cool. Anyway, so have you ever heard of Atlas before?
The world.
Yes. So Atlas was son of two of the Titans, Iapetus and Themis.
Kissy face. I've had no normal social interaction today.
No, not one.
I've mostly just been like delivering, so I've not had like really normal sit down conversations. So I apologise. The attention span's withering.
Well, I will try and be quick. Right. So, he took the side of the Titans during the war and was actually led the army of the Titans against the Olympians.
Right.
So obviously, when the war was over, they weren't very happy with him, and he got big punishment.
Right.
So due to him,
so this is their uncle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Olympian's uncle.
Yes. Cousin. Yeah, because Kronos would have been brothers with Iapetus and Themis.
Right.
And then they had Atlas, so cousin. Yeah. It's all confusing.
They're all just in bed with one another.
Yep. So he was condemned to hold the heavens aloft.
Right, okay. So that's where the images come from.
Yeah, or bear the heavens on his shoulders. So you'll often see him depicted with like the globe above his head, or like it literally resting on the back of his neck. The man literally had the weight of the world on his shoulders. So this is Hesiod's interpretation of him. But there are others. So there are some descriptions of Atlas that lean more into him being a mountain rather than like a in the figure of a man. So Ovid wrote Atlas as a normal man who transformed into a mountain after an encounter with Perseus. So Perseus, you might know him, who he slayed the Gorgon Medusa.
Right.
And Ovid's tale tells that Perseus asked Atlas for shelter and was refused. So in Greek mythology, if you ask someone for shelter, they have to give it to you, and you get punished if you don't. So if you don't let someone in your house, you're not very nice.
So Atlas refused it?
Yeah, in this version. And Perseus used the head of Medusa to turn Atlas into stone, and he then became the mountain, and it's the mountain that holds the heavens because it separates from the sky, right? So either way, Atlas suffered the burden of carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he's often given the last name Telamon, which literally translates in Greek from support or bearer. So that was his punishment. He literally just had to carry everything on his back. So you know all those memes that's like he's so tired from carrying it on his back. That was Atlas at all times.
Because he didn't let somebody into his house.
Well, yeah, in that version, or in the version
of
where
the war.
Right. And then we have Prometheus. So Prometheus, he wasn't really punished after the war. He took the side of the Olympians in the war. He abandoned like all this other Titan family and helped the Olympians. So his name, Prometheus, was the god of forethought. His name literally translates to forethought. And he's the brother of Atlas, and Epimetheus, whose name means afterthought. So Prometheus, smart brother. Epimetheus, not so smart brother, because he doesn't think about anything until after it's happened. So as I say, he sided with the Olympians and betrayed the Titans, so he was spared after the war. But he was a bit of a trickster, and he didn't last long without getting up to something that required a punishment. So he was a master craftsman and was given the task of creating mankind out of clay. So he literally, like Play-Doh, made man and went, here you go to the earth, and there was just a race of men made out of clay who then became human. So he was.
Imagine that being your job. That's sick.
I know. He was responsible for creating the whole human race out of clay. Well, male population. So his first trick, they make sacrifices to the gods and things, and he cut up a sacrificial bull and divided it into 2 portions. One pile contained all the best parts of the meat, which he concealed in the hide of the bull. So he took all the best bits and just put the skin of the bull over the top of it, and then put on top of that the stomach, which was supposed to be the worst part of the meat. And then the other pile, it was just a pile of bones, and he covered that in the fat, right? So the gods looked at it and was like, well, the fat, there's fat on that, so that must be the good pile, and there's stomach on that, so that must be the bad pile. And they took the bad pile, and then once they realised they'd been tricked by Atlas, Zeus wasn't very happy.
Wait, Atlas was a trickster?
Oh, sorry, no. Prometheus. Sorry, there's...
What's that got to do with him making...
I will get there.
Right.
So, that was one of his tricks. So Zeus wasn't happy with this.
Right.
So that was his, like, strike number 1 against Prometheus.
And did we like Zeus?
Not
do we like
really.
any of them?
Not really. I mean, there's some that are victims. When you go on to hear more about what Zeus does, I don't like Zeus. Don't strike me down. But like, because I can hear the rain. Zeus is like one of the worst of the worst. Yeah. So that was like strike 1. So Zeus, as punishment, then forbid Prometheus from giving fire to the mortal men. He was like, you're just not getting to give your creations a good life now. Sucks to be you.
That seems counterproductive on Zeus's end.
Yeah, but Prometheus was like, nah, I want the best for my creation. So he stole the sacred fire of heaven, which is like,
I low-key love this guy.
Yeah. He stole the sacred fire known as the hearth, which is like guarded by Hestia, which was one of the ones we mentioned last time. And he took it down to the humans and gifted fire to the humans.
My guy.
He had also concealed all evils from mortals. He didn't want them to know, like, sorrow and hardship and stuff. Nice guy, yeah. So he concealed them in a jar. And yeah. So Zeus found out that he'd stolen fire and given it to the humans and was raging. So he punished Prometheus for his actions. So his punishment was that he was literally bound to a rock.
Is this the guy that has to push a rock up the hill all the time?
No.
Who's he?
That's Sisyphus. That's Sisyphus' boulder.
Okay.
So Prometheus is literally chained to a rock, like legs and like corners, each corner of the rock. He's chained there. And every day a great eagle comes down and rips out his liver and eats it.
And then it just appears
back. It flies
back.
away, and then every day it regenerates. And so he's literally condemned to like eternal suffering and torture.
Oh, because he stole a little bit of fire?
Yeah, and gave them some shitty meat. Yeah. So...
Justice for Prometheus, honestly.
Not only that, but because again, Zeus is a horror, and he was raging at Prometheus. He was then also raging at mankind. So they got punished as well. So they were punished. Have you ever heard of Pandora's box?
I have.
Okay, so Pandora's box was actually Pandora's jar. So the translation of pithos, which meant jar, over time became pixis, which meant box. Not really. Well, it is an important detail, but I'm not going to go into it that much. But Zeus ordered the creation of the first woman, who was Pandora. And the reason that he wanted this woman created was to cause misfortune to man. She was given gifts from all the gods.
This was the OG man-hater?
Basically. You just wanted to be more powerful than anyone. Yeah. But not man-hater in a cool way like the rest of us. Like, man-hater.
Not man-hater as in we hate men. Man-hater as in he hates man.
Yeah. So she was literally given gifts from all the gods to make her appealing. So Hephaestus, who was the blacksmith god, made her out of clay. So obviously Prometheus is chained up. He can't be making people out of clay anymore. And Aphrodite gave her beauty, and Hermes gave her cunning, and Zeus gave her a jar as a wedding present.
A wedding present for being birthed? That makes no sense.
So she was then sent to Earth to marry Epimetheus, who was Afterthought.
Okay.
Why
is he chilling on Earth?
I don't know.
Did they just want him out the way?
Probably. They were like, that Dumbo's got to go somewhere. Get him out the way where he can't, like, Afterthought anything up here.
Right, okay.
So Epimetheus took her as a wife, and so the jar that she was given was the jar that Prometheus had used to conceal all evils from man, right? So because she thought it was a wedding present, it wasn't long before she opened it.
Valid.
Yeah,
as
on, you would, you know,
Pandora.
like you've just been created on day one. You're given to some random man as a bride, and you've just
clearly there's no thought process.
Yeah, absolutely. Open your present.
What
girl.
if he was down telling them, like, teaching men how to be humans, and like that's why there's so many dumb men?
Do you know what? Wouldn't put it past them.
Dumb humans.
Yeah, but at the time there was only men. Just so happened.
Just coincidental.
Yeah. So she opened the jar, and all the evils such as disease, plague, and suffering escaped and brought misery to the earth, right? But because that happened when she opened the jar, she got a massive scare and thought, oh my God, and shut the jar. But little did she know, the only thing that was left in the jar still was hope. So she released all the evils into the world.
Why did they put hope in the jar?
Well, I don't know. I think he put it in so that, like, preserve it as well. Yeah. So the last thing that was left was hope, and because she shut it, she preserved it. So although she released all the evils, despite the fact that man was still going to suffer from now on, hope was protected. So they still had hope. They could live on with that. So there are lots of different versions of her myth, and it's adapted over time. And some versions say that Pandora knew what she was doing, like Hermes gave her cunning, so she deliberately released all the evils. Some say she was a bit more innocent than that. You might, like, her story is closely mirrored later on by Eve, like the creation of Eve, and that both are the first women on Earth who caused the suffering of men, or of mankind. Yeah.
So, what terrible
I know
burden to be given.
Yeah. So, like, if you would like more a more in-depth explanation of Pandora's story, I'd really recommend the podcast Ladies of Lore. It recently featured an episode on her, and I love that podcast. The host, India, is really good, and she has all this fantastic details. Obviously, we don't have time to go into as much detail as that, but she goes into the importance of, like, the issues with the translation and all the different versions. So it's really interesting. I would recommend going and listening to it. But my question, Zoe, is which of the punishments would you rather receive, and which one is your favourite?
Oh, is this like your would you rather and your thing rolled into one, or?
Oh, well, I have another would you rather, but yeah.
So what punishment would I want out of the ones listed?
Yeah.
Right.
So, well, I suppose you have, like, Pandora's one isn't technically
punishment.
Yeah, but, like, she went down in history as the one that,
so, Atlas has everything on his back.
Yeah.
Prometheus is tied to a stone.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pandora lets out all the suffering of the world.
Yeah.
Is that my 3 options?
Yeah.
I hold the world on my back, you know. Just feel like I'd feel like I was contributing something through the punishment.
Yeah.
Like, it would get me through it knowing that, you know, but at the end of the day, world's on my back.
Mm-hmm.
On my back.
Yeah.
Actually might give me an ego trip.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, but being tied to a rock my liver being eaten doesn't appeal to me.
I just wonder how much pain it would really cause.
And I just don't think that his punishment was justified, to be honest.
No. I mean, we owe a lot to Prometheus.
So, I just think that it's I feel like that's an unfair punishment for what he had done.
Yeah.
And really, so Atlas has just stood with the world on his back, but this guy's getting his liver ripped out every day.
It would be an unbearable weight, wouldn't it?
But you would get used to it. I suppose you get used to your liver getting taken out.
Yeah. Would you though? Because he'd just be uncomfy at all times, and the minute that you kind of shifted it, it would just be like a new pain.
But in the scenario that he get moved to, you know, the method that he get turned to stone, then it's not my issue. I'm stone.
True.
I'm sticking. I'm gonna get the punishment of Atlas.
Okay.
I said Athens.
Yeah. I thought you would choose being known as the one releasing suffering on the earth because you just mere minutes ago said that you just want to watch the world burn.
I'm a walking contradiction. What can I say?
Fair enough.
You were
presented with other options.
I do want to see the world burn, right? But I want to see the world burn from my calculated plan.
Yeah.
I don't think that Pandora was a role in that.
No.
And I don't want to accidentally see the world burn.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to see it burn, I want it on my hands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I've.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like.
But I suppose if you were Atlas and you want to watch the world burn, you could just.
Throw you off.
Yeah.
3-pointer. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think I would also go with Atlas. I think it would be unbearable, but I would live. Yeah.
That's really interesting, Rose. I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot about these guys.
But you did know about Sisyphus. We could maybe talk about him another
Yes,
time.
I learned about Sisyphus on another podcast.
He's another one that's got a pretty shitey.
Yeah, I like tricksters though. So
do I.
I love a good lovable rogue, a wee prankster. Because a lot of the time, there's no bad intent to it. It's just a bit of a giggle.
Yeah,
I can get on board with that.
Imagine just being like, I'm just gonna give them fire. What's he gonna do? I'm gonna give them fire. Oh, I'm now chained to a rock.
I'm now getting a new liver transplant every day. He didn't do that much wrong. He was doing as he was told. He made people.
I know.
Gotta keep them warm.
I feel like anytime I hear that story, it makes me think of, the little art attack Play-Doh man. That's what it makes me think of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So my would you rather is, if you were meeting your favourite celebrity, would you rather that you be sick on them or them sick on you?
Oh. See, I feel like while them being sick on you is awful, at least you wouldn't have the embarrassment for the rest of your life. There's the feeling ill and being sick, and then there's waking up in the dead of night in a cold sweat in 20 years time being like, I was sick on them.
I think I would rather be sick on than be sick on.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It's just the same thing with two different inflictions.
That's a story. You'll never guess who threw up on me.
Yeah.
Do you know who I saw? And they absolutely... He's an arsehole.
Yeah.
I love him, but yeah.
I just think that, in the scenario that I'm meeting a celebrity, they're probably off somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm being sick on them, what if I'm at the Met Gala
Yeah.
and I'm sick on them.
Yeah.
And that ruins their Met Gala outfit.
No,
or like they're out on a jog and I bump into them and I ruin their
and it'd
jogging
be
shoes.
Everywhere. Like, it'd be everywhere in like...
And they're not going to know anything of me other than the fact that I was that random fan that was sick on them. Whereas if they're sick on me, that's a cool story for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, did you hear that Harry Styles spewed his ring on me?
Yeah.
And then you go, ha ha ha, because I still love and adore him and still pay.
And also, you would be so relevant because people would use that as a meme all the time.
Yeah.
And,
I think that actually, out of the two, being sick on me is the ideal, definitely the ideal scenario.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't take the shame of being sick on them. I would have to end it.
Yeah. End it
live with it. Yeah. No, I think, they've got to be sick on me. Yeah.
Agreement.
Excellent. So my would you rather is, so we're about to do, well, by the time you see this, we'll have done the kilt walk. So this might happen, right? But my would you rather is, would you rather get a blister like a bad blister from really early on in the walk, or shit yourself like 3/4 of the way through, but there's nowhere to stop at this point? Like, you need to just keep going till the end, to the finish line.
Blister.
Yeah.
There's no question about that to me. Like, when we went on that walk and we got lost, a blister popped like whilst we were walking back, and that was fine. And I'm like, oh, I think I can live through a big blister from the beginning.
Yeah.
I'd survive on that one. I could not survive on the fact that I smelled like poo.
Yeah.
The whole time.
And also, you'd be so uncomfy as well.
And the chub rub.
Yeah.
No. And everyone around you just knows you smell like poo.
Yeah.
Like, I could limp the whole way. I could limp the 18
and who's
miles.
to say, like, if you've been that, like, desperate that you've shit yourself, you're probably not well, so it might even happen more than once.
I'm not. I'm not up for that, to be honest. I hope neither of these scenarios happen.
Well, me too. Touch wood. But yeah, I think we're in agreement. It has to be the blister. I would rather have a foot covered in blisters than shit myself.
I'd rather become a blister personally than have to poo myself in public.
Yeah, just cover me head to toe in a Compeed. I'm not doing that.
Awful. No. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 19. Woo! Please come back next week. Not next week. Come back in a fortnight for episode 20.
I mean, by all means, come back next week and rewatch this one, because we won't be. We won't
do
be
that too. Yeah. As usual, if you have liked this episode, disliked this episode, anything in between, please like, share, subscribe, comment. All of the things on all of your favourite platforms, wherever you may do that, please do it. Please engage with us. If you are interested in sending us anything, please send that to brainsunpicked@gmail.com. We are super interested to unpick some other people's thoughts. We are tired of thinking, but other than that, that's pretty much it. So,
2 tired girls. Yeah.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.